What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord, still in search of a new name. But check out that video on Mike's channel, One Rental at a Time, and give us your feedback because, Mike, I was doing the math last night. There's a lot of money on the line for that name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's a lot. Like,
yeah, somebody's going to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, somebody is. And I saw one person actually do like 9 entries. I don't care. Put 9 entries in. Makes no difference to me.
I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the commenters on some of my videos shares my last name.
Yes.
That is my mom.
I thought that was your mom because I actually said, I was like, you raised such a nice boy.
Yes. So again, folks,
confused.
Yeah, she's like, I only have one son. No, I didn't. I didn't have a second one. That's funny. No, it is both awesome and a little nerve-wracking knowing that your mom is going to watch every video.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so when folks leave comments and you see my last name on someone else, if you're rude to that person, you are gone. Yeah. I don't care.
I'm breaking out the block button, jackass.
Yeah. No, you can be rude to anybody else, but that person, no dice. You better be nice and kind or just ignore it. Ignore is okay.
Yeah, but that's perfect. So first video today coming out of the chute on fire because to recession or not to recession? That is the question.
Yeah, we might be doing something that we haven't done since 1947.
Yeah. Yep.
And, as somebody who's done years of economic study, got an actual undergrad in economics, going back to 1947 is not very common. So yeah, I don't know if it will happen because I'm still leaning towards a very slightly positive Q2, like 0.1, 0.2.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be narrow.
But I do understand the Atlanta Fed indicator is saying like -1.9. So I get it. And
that continues to get worse.
It actually bounced. It did get worse. It was down as low as it got was -2.1. Right. It is now at -1.9. So it did tick up.
Yeah. That's great. So what Mike and I are talking about, if you haven't already guessed it, is normally, like normal people on the street, we would say, hey, GDP down 2 quarters in a row, that's a recession. However, the intellectuals in Washington, I use the term loosely, they are the ones that are, and the big firms that missed the last housing crash in 2008. They're the ones that are actually telling us, well, technically, even if we have 2 bad GDP quarters in a row, even if both of them are negative, but we still show significant job growth, then we're technically not in a recession.
I mean, there's going to be, again, let's just be very clear. If we have a negative Q2, which is absolutely possible, I don't see it, but absolutely possible.
Agreed.
There's going to be so much conspiracy theory.
And so
much. Oh, it's going to be bananas. But as someone who has studied economics and has a degree from a great university, we all know that the rule of thumb, that 2 negative quarters of GDP is a recession.
Yep.
And they're always called in the rear view mirror. Let's be also clear on that, right? They don't call them while we're in it. It has worked since 1947, but it's a rule of thumb.
Right.
And when you look at the rules of thumb, there's actually 4 categories that will be looked at. Mm-hmm. And not many people get this far because since 1947, it hasn't mattered. It had, like, if there was 2 quarters of negative GDP, it was a recession. It was right every year since 1947. If you want to go back and look at it, it was Q2 and Q3. Q2 was like -0.8 and Q3 was like -1.7. That's from memory, but you can look them up. What happens is there's 4 factors. One is retail sales.
Mm-hmm.
One is industrial production.
Yep.
One is real wages, not nominal, real. And then the big one, the fly in the ointment, unemployment or job growth. Typically in a recession, all 4 of those indicators are negative and some are really negative. Right. What we have seen in the first 6 months, those 4 indicators at different times have been positive.
Yes.
And jobs, as of we got this morning, has been screaming positive. We created 1.5 million jobs in 6 months. I believe even if we have 2 negative quarters, that these powers that be are going to look at it and go, we created 1.5 million jobs
Yeah.
in a recession? I don't think so.
Right. Right.
So again, and again, whether it is or isn't a recession really doesn't matter. But I can't wait for the the conspiracy theories of this and that.
Sure.
Folks, focus on your buy box, your stuff. Whether it is or isn't a recession doesn't matter. And frankly, I think regardless, we have a recession this year, and I was wrong for those people that want to hear me say it. I thought we would delay the recession till Q2 or Q3 of next year. I think real estate, the housing market, is going to have such a wild and fast crash in transactions that we will whack 4% off GDP, and it won't be a choice. Q3 and Q4 will undoubtedly be negative, and probably a lot more negative, and they won't have a choice. If they still want to wink and hide Q1, Q2, I don't think they're going to be able to hide Q3, Q4.
No, I agree with that. I think my personal belief is I think that we eke it out on GDP in Q2.
And then it's a moot point. Yeah,
exactly. And that, Mike, the conspiracy theorists are going to come out of the woodwork because they're going to be like negative all across the board, but somehow we had GDP growth. And so I think that that's going to be a big thing, a big topic of those videos. But what a lot of people kind of forget is that as soon as you have that clean quarter, as soon as you have that above zero quarter, it restarts.
It restarts. Yeah,
it restarts.
It doesn't.
So that means that Q3 has to be negative and Q4 has to be negative. I think that you're exactly right. I think that without a doubt, based on just watching the Vegas market.
Yeah, I'm talking to Brian in a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Just based on the Las Vegas market alone, it's 100 a day. And my buy box, Mike, it's like I have to shrink my buy box.
No, I think you do. I think
too many now.
I think that market of 750 to 1.5 in Vegas is the most exposed market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think that market is going to crumble.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that there's going to be, now that we're seeing the formation of it and we're seeing the same markets over and over and over again, highest highs, lowest lows. We all know this about Las Vegas.
It's why Brian and I started talking 2 years ago in the pandemic. I mean, our very first video, I'm like, Brian, you're a service-based economy heading into a pandemic. You're screwed.
That one.
Yeah. I was going to use a different word. I decided not to. I'm like, damn it, what's another word for that?
But that's exactly right. And so that's what I'm watching is, and all of these, crypto millionaires and all these guys.
Stimulus ballers.
Oh, yeah. Doge doofuses. Yeah. All of this stuff, Bitcoin boneheads. We'll see. It's all, I mean, again, there's going to absolutely be a readjustment. People cashed out of some of those assets and got into housing, and so when the formula changes of too few money or too little money chasing too many goods.
Yeah.
Welcome to econ, everybody. This is what's going to happen. And now what you're actually also going to find is you will find that inventory in stores, lumber, I have no problem getting any type of lumber I want, even the specialty stuff now. I can get whatever I want.
Copper's crashed.
Yeah, I hope it crashes even more because copper went from $42 a 250-foot 14-2 spool. That's what's used to run lights and outlets in most houses. $42. Its high was 131. Wow. It tripled. And literally now it's sub 100, but we're still working through the supply of what was created.
It's coming.
What did you see what copper was last it traded? Was it in the 3s or still 4s?
No, I think it's in the high 3s. It's coming. They're whacking, whack. It's coming down.
God bless it. That's a beautiful thing. So as Mike and I always like to talk about, we like to kind of give that view of what we're looking at. Our buy boxes really haven't changed. They're exactly the same. We're still looking at all the same type of properties. What we're really looking for is, we're not saying that 10 people are going to need to sell their house, but we're starting to see 1 out of 10 needing to sell their house.
Yeah, that's the key that I want people to realize is I actually think July 20th, that day is going to be awesome, but it's also going to create a lot of noise.
Yes.
Right. Buyers are going to vanish. Sellers are going to run. But again, you got to understand need versus want. Because even in your market of Vegas, there will be some people that list $1 million home.
Yep.
Because, honey, we missed the top. We missed the top. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then, 2 weeks, crickets, whatever it is, maybe they'll try 950 once. And then they're going to go, honey, well, you know what? We kind of like our house. Our mortgage is at 3%. We're going to stay. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff, you got to figure out who wants to sell versus who needs to sell. And that only becomes easier with time.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. And when people start looking at the market, and because the sentiment with realtors is going to be, oh yeah, I've gotten 15 listings this week, right?
All the same junk. They're going to start. It's the same thing as last time. Oh, I got another one in that community.
Exactly. Same. And guys, that's what Mike and I went through. Like I literally had streets that had 5 and 6 listings on them last time.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't as bad as Stockton. Stockton, they had pictures where it was the entire street. Everybody had for sale signs.
Yeah. I bought, so so again, just real life, right? I own 3 houses within, I think 9 or 10 houses in a row on the same street, all bought in the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, I love that.
Once I got a comp on one, the other 2, same number.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to the bank saying, do you know you have I did this. So I bought whatever street. I'm not going to give the number, but I bought a house, got it contract, closed it. Another house came up 3 doors down, same model. I called up the agent and said, hey, you might not know this, but there's a comp down the street at 40% off. I'll honor that price. And they're like, oh, we didn't see that. Well, I'm like, here's the number. Here's the closing date. If your bank wants to sell it for that number, I'll match it. Sure enough, they validated, they matched it, good to go. And I did that one more time. This is awesome.
Awesome. That is guys, that's elite right there. That's elite. And here's the thing, Mike, the agent can call you up and go, hi, Mr. Zuber, we just listed a house that's 4 down from the one that you just sold. They weren't doing any of that work, but Mike was doing that work. And
every day,
making the phone call, doing the work, picking up the phone and saying, hey, giving them exactly the information he just gave him. I actually own my record for owning the number of houses. So I own 3 duplexes on the same street.
That's awesome.
And we did it almost exactly the same way. In fact, the guy next door, we bought it, we redid one, and he goes, yeah, I've been thinking about selling. I was like, well, let's try and put something together. And so we put something together just because he saw us rehabbing next door, and he was elated. So yeah, guys, you got your network is your net worth. Check out my Lumberjack Landlord series on product, because there is a ton of product out there that landlords need to have. And one of them is the most important networking tool you're going to have in the next 2 years. By far, that digital business card. I did a full review on it. It's right there on the channel. Mike, tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
One rental at a time, YouTube channel, Instagram, all that good stuff. And I go live Saturdays at 8 a.m. for 1 hour. If you want to ask me questions, I suggest getting on early. I have not been able to get to all the questions in 60 minutes.
I saw you got wicked close to 300.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, 300 people. I remember joining that live stream when it was not 300 people.
No, there was a time I did. It was under 50.
I remember. Sometimes it was even under 40, for being honest. But yeah.
No, yeah. I probably did one with less than 20.
Yeah. I was like,
I was talking to myself.
Yeah, I got to meet that guy. So as I always say, we create great content for you. Hit the like button. Absolutely subscribe. Lumberjack Landlord, currently speaking, but that will be getting adjusted sometime soon. And really appreciate all the people that have posted info or names on that video that we did with Mike and Dion for the 3 amigos yesterday. Really appreciate you. And quite frankly, you're going after a prize that's probably worth about $1,000.
Probably.
It's like Mike's offering his course. I'm going to mine when mine's done, Dion when his is done. So definitely check it out. Mike, thanks so much. We'll see you in segment number 2.
You got it.